I want to welcome everybody. If we don't know each other yet, we might not. I am Rabbi Cantor Hilary Chorney of Temple Beth Am. I welcome you. I want to say something very briefly about walls. At their best, walls are containers and they hold us in our communities. And at their worst, walls separate us and they push people out and they hold people and things and spaces back and between us. It is an unbelievable source of joy and pride for me. And I think it's okay for me to say for our entire community that a wall in our community can say something and has something to say about justice and has something to say about love. And that when we don't always have the right words to say, when we fail or we falter for a moment with the right words or the right action, that we have something to point to and a mission to remind us and a vision to look back at. That is something to be quite proud of. And I want to thank the leadership and my partners in this community for being a part of this project that has brought us to this day. And with that, I turn it over to the president of this institution, who I want to thank most of all for shepherding and for his patience in this process, Stuart Tochner. And Stuart, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rabbi Chorney, and welcome to everybody here for this special day today. This banner project that we're gathered for on this day is a long time in the making. It was born in the days immediately following the George Floyd murder in the summer, but it has come a long way from that day. This is a project that was born in intentionality among a number of very special leaders here at Temple Beth Am. A lot of thought went into this process. A lot of careful analysis about what it was that this congregation wanted to say about a particular moment in time or about a particular issue in our community, and how our synagogue as an institution relates to the communities around it. So we took our time, and the banner that will be unveiled today is an expression of the sentiment of our entire community. It was ratified and approved and blessed by the Executive Committee of Temple Beth Am and by the entire Board of Trustees of Temple Beth Am. But make no mistake about it, the banner that you will see, the reflection that it provides as to the sentiment of this community, was created by a committee of very, very special individuals who spent an enormous amount of time and thought in putting it together. I want to give a name to that committee now and the people who put in so much time on it. On that committee were Michael Becker, Paula Perlman, Jenny Asher, Alex DeGood, Tyson Roberts, who I also want to say is responsible for so much of the careful social action activity that we provide at Temple Beth Am. And I want to give special a shout out and recognition to Jessica Samuels and Leonard Samuels, who not only provided with everybody else the artistic foresight in trying to express what it was that our community wanted to provide, but also acted as the designers of the banner itself. So a special thanks to them. And particularly, I want to thank Rabbi Chorny, who from the professional side of our institution provided a rabbinic guidance to this project that made sure that at all times that the sentiments that are reflected by the banner that you will see today reflects not only the social intent of our institution, but the rabbinic Jewish perspective that underlies it as well. So thank you very much to all who contributed to this. We're enormously proud of this at Temple Beth Am. And with that, I want to turn it over to Rabbi Clickback.
Thank you, Stuart. I'm going to take off my mask for just a few minutes. No one is standing within 15 feet of me, and we're outdoors. I echo everything that Stuart just said. It's really impossible to put sufficient words of admiration for and gratitude to Rabbi Chorny and her team and the process that they have stewarded with real care and focus and seriousness. There is an oft quoted and beloved Jewish aphorism from the Talmudic era, so beloved that you sometimes hear it referred to, linked to even outside the Jewish tradition, even if those who are referring to it don't know the source. Many of you watching know it verbatim in Hebrew and in English. It ends with, V'im lo achshav imatai, and if not now, when? And of course, it begins with, whether you know it from a song at camp or having learned it in some study session, Im ein anili mili. In addition to it sounding lyrical, the meaning is lyrical. Im ein ani li, if I am not li for myself, mili, who would be? The second line is often translated well intentionally, and I think, humbly, incorrectly. The second line is often translated, Uchsha'ani la'atzmi ma'ani. We throw in an only in English. And if I am only for myself, what am I? That only does not appear in Hebrew. In fact, in the Hebrew, the uchsheh, the chsheh in Hebrew, means when or as, which means that I believe the original intent of the saying is not if I'm only for myself, what am I? But when I am for myself, uchsheh when I'm acting in my own interests, when I'm taking care of myself and my inner circle, what do I look like? What do I look like to those peering in? Everyone is entitled to take care of themselves in concentric circles. However you define yourself, your family, your religious identity, your friend group, perhaps your racial identity, of course. But what do I look like when I'm focusing on me? And am I proud of it? I'm standing here at a place that I know all of you miss, where we spend thousands of hours every year focusing on us properly, focusing on our prayers and focusing on our cholent and focusing on our relationships with each other and focusing on issues that are just connected to the Jewish question. And what do we look like to others when we fail to break out of these walls and pay attention to what's happening out there, literally right out there? This project, which has many legs, emerged from the leadership of the synagogue, asking ourselves this question: what do we look like? And again, literally, what does our building look like if it's obvious that the only thing we are focusing on are the internal nitty-gritty questions of running a synagogue? In the aftermath of a terrible summer and the killing of George Floyd and societal unrest and the exposure, once again, not that it was new, of so many fissures and brokenness in our society, and particularly the experience of members of the communities of color in our society, we pushed ourselves to recognize that the second line of that beautiful teaching demands that we take a second look at what we look like when we only look at ourselves. Now, I think we fall into traps when we're talking about hard issues, when we, again, with good intentions, conflate sensitivity and sympathy with simple solutions. There are no simple solutions to complex problems. No two Jews agree about the most important or best way to solve all of the many issues plaguing the Jewish community from inside our own reality and from outside our own reality. And therefore, I hope we would never expect those from outside the Jewish community to come to us with unanimity about the best way for the Jewish problems to be solved. But we certainly would appreciate their sensitivity and the sympathy for whatever problems the Jewish community continues to face in the 21st century. And similarly, from my experience with colleagues and friends and just knowing the world, there is no unanimity amongst the black community and the communities of color in our society for the way to restore and repair all the things that are terribly broken in our beautiful country, but terribly broken. There's no unanimity. And therefore, I would hope that there wouldn't be an expectation upon a community such as ours to come forward with pat or simple or unanimous solutions for how to fix all of that wretchedness. But there ought to be an expectation of awareness, of open eyes, of open hearts, of sensitivity to those very broken things just outside our doors. That we understand that part of our religious obligations are to be sensitive to others' depredations and to be committed to their elevation as a part of what it means to live and serve as a Jew. And this banner, which is neither everything nor nothing, it is not everything, does not fix a society, does not make one person's life better out there, but it's also not a nothing. As we articulate a message that we would like to feel proud that every person driving by or walking by sees, exemplifying our sense of woundedness for what we have witnessed and our duty towards fixing what we have witnessed. And it's not a solution message. It's a you're not alone message. And speaking of you're not alone, out of the mouths of babes, I was speaking to a colleague of mine late last week who was talking about the 13-year-old girl in his community who was becoming bat mitzvah this past week on Shabbat Parshat Yitro. And he was telling me about her Dvar Torah, a beautiful Dvar Torah on Parshat Yitro, including a read on a section of the Parsha that he had never thought of before and I had never thought of before. In the section where Yitro, Moshe's father-in-law, is giving Moshe counsel on how to deal with the layers of problems that people are going to come to him with loud motorcycle. And there's a whole system that Yitro sets up so that Moshe does not have to bear the burden of leadership all on his own. Almost every time I've read that story, every time my colleague have read that story, it seems to be that we're learning about how to optimize leadership, how to optimize human resources, how to not have people feel burnout, and a sophisticated infrastructure for how to adjudicate problems in a society. It may have been about that too. What this 13-year-old girl pulled out of that story was Yitro telling Moshe, guess what? You're not going through this alone. You're not facing this fatigue alone. There are people in your midst who are experiencing it with you, and just your knowing that can lessen your burden. It's in that spirit that we have crafted this banner, that we proudly unveil it to our neighborhood and to the society at large as a beginning of a process, as stimulating a process of using our very turning of our hearts inwards to our own realities and to God to turn them outwards as well. For ultimately, that's what it means to live a life of the Spirit. So without further ado, I'm going to turn to our dear committee members and Temple Beth Am members and artists and visionaries, Leo and Jessica Samuels, who are going to actually be the ones to pull down the banner. And I think the camera's going to turn upwards so that you can see it. So assume your position with Waffle the doggy. I'm going to put back on my mask. Okay, so assume the position. I think so. Where's the... Is that it? Yeah. Okay, you can hop up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Rabbi Chorny, I know this isn't part of the script, but perhaps you can help people understand what they're seeing. This camera can pull back a little bit, and you can read it, and if you'd like, annotate it as we move into the next part of this event.
I'll read it out loud, also just so that anybody who might be visually impaired and can't quite see it can actually know what the words are on there, and I'll allow Leo to be the first to annotate it. To our Black and brown brothers and sisters, we see you, we love you, and we say your lives matter in solidarity. Temple Beth Am, and then in Hebrew, Tzedek, Tzedek Tirdof, justice, justice shall you pursue, and then the biblical quote there.
Sorry, I had to bring this up. Part of the 6 foot and up Jewish community. So like feathers are all right. Okay. Sorry, the Afro Black people problems. All right. So what can I say? The fact that we were brought to this attention by Rabbi Chorny, and I want to say thank you so much to Temple Beth Am, to Stewart, to Adam Clickfield, to Rabbi Chorny. Honestly, this was probably one of the most important things we could do for our community thus far. When the Rabbi Chorny had brought to our attention that this is what Temple Beth Am wanted to do, we're incredibly proud to jump right to service and be a part of it. The committee, absolutely incredible, to say the least. Um, it, to be honest, we had a safe space, uh, talking about what bringing the illustration of this project to life would be. Uh, it was incredibly uncomfortable at times, but 100% necessary to understand what it is to be on the other side of the community. And Los Angeles is especially is such a melting pot that I believe that this is a huge, huge step forward for Temple Beth Am, the Jewish community, and us as people. In the end, we are able to recognize to our black brothers and sisters, people of color, that your lives do matter. We see you, we understand, especially as Jews, we very much understand what it is to be persecuted. And regardless of any feelings that you may have towards another person of color, they are still a person at the end of the day. And we are incredibly proud to be part of Temple Beth Am. Very happy to work with Jessica. We've known each other for a long time. In fact, we're married. And it's great to collaborate with an artist of such talent, and Waffles too, our dog. But again, Rabbi Chorney, really, she led the team. She braved the storm, and we're very proud members of Temple Beth Am. When we arrived, it's been a safe space for us. We got married through the temple, and every time we've been here, yes, there are not a lot of people that look like me. We understand that, and that is fine. I'm very easy to spot, besides being 6'3", but that's never been an issue here, especially. And there are more people that look like us, and we're very proud to see what Temple Beth Am has been doing in terms of service towards people of color and minorities within the community. And again, there's not much more I can say to that versus just, it's easy to say things, but to take action is a whole nother process. And the fact that Temple Beth Am did take action and commission the banner and is willing to say and put their name out there and say that we stand with people of color in the community, and this is where we are. I couldn't be happier. So thank you so much to Temple Beth Am, to the committee members. You guys really showed who you are, which is great. So thank you. And then I'll pass it back to Rabbi Chorney. And hey, everybody that's there. Okay, thank you very much.
I want to thank Leo and Jessica so much, and thank you, Dan, for highlighting the banner again so that people can see it. I encourage you um, to pin that window for yourself so you can see it up close. And in just a moment, I'll share something else with you that'll allow you to see the imagery again a little bit more up close. I want to share with you that sadly, it seems that our friend Pastor Najuma Smith Pollard is unable to join us at the last minute. It seems that an emergency might have arisen or some such thing, and she's unable to join us at the last minute. And we're hoping that we'll be able to gather words from her and share it out with the community after the fact. Such as the benefit of the digital universe that we're hoping that we're able to do that anyway. We're glad we're able to hear from the folks who we were able to hear from. Thank you to Stuart. Thank you, Rabbi Kligfeld, for those beautiful and generous words of framing today. I want to say to everybody here that we so appreciate the incredible patience that's gone into this process. The slow drip of diplomacy is real, and we imagine that you may have thoughts as well. And so I'm sharing with you now in the chat, which has been otherwise disabled, just so you could take in this experience. I want to share with you now in the chat a link, and that link is to a form that will come to us, to the leadership, to the senior staff. And we'll share it out also with the Board of Trustees if they'd like to help us to sift through some of these thoughts and their thoughts on the banner and its imagery and on what comes next for justice and specifically racial justice in our community and action that can be linked to this banner. And we stand by what Rabbi Kligfeld said so articulately in his remarks, which is that this banner is enough and that this banner is not enough. As Leo said, it cannot stand on its own without action. And the words on this banner themselves speak to our commitment to action, to tzedek, tzedek tirdof, to the pursuit of justice that we must do. And we want this banner to be a reminder to us of what action we must take next. And we want each of you to be a part of that commitment by letting us know what you want to see next in our community. So we encourage you to speak out and speak up through this form that I just put in. I'll put it again in the chat for those people who might just be joining and just now see it in the chat. Again, this is a link to the form. You can see on that form also the image up close of the banner. And we encourage you to drive by so you can see it nice and big and beautifully. And while you're clicking on that, I'm going to go ahead and continue to play a little bit of music. So we can close with a little bit of music. And perhaps Daniel do us the favor of spotlighting the image of the banner so we can close on the image of the banner, but I encourage you to sing along. And I thank you, every one of you, for joining today to be a part of this spark of conversation, because we can't wait to continue this little bit of commitment and see what comes next. Thanks everyone for being here. You know where to reach out to us. I encourage you one more time. I'll put the link in case you want to reach out by that form. I'm so glad to see your faces. I'll put it on gallery view for myself so I can see you and see your names. Grateful to see you this afternoon. Stay healthy. We love you. We miss you. Take care. Bye, everybody.